Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining in. I am conducting this session which is on creating impactful resumes with Anna Boshoer. She is an HR professional based in Toronto, Canada, and she has over 15 years of experience in HR and recruitment. She has worked with a number of technology organizations, IT firms, HR roles, and recruitment roles. And she's passionate about career development and helping others developing their career. So the first person I got in touch with when I was looking for a job here in Canada was Anna. I got to know her through LinkedIn, and she was more than happy to help me, and she helped me figure out my resume. She helped me figure out my LinkedIn profile, and I received wonderful questions from all of you. So this session is about creating impactful resumes. Okay, let me add her. Hi, Anna. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Nikita?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm so glad you joined. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
It's a work day for you. Thank you so much for taking out the time and, doing this for me.
Yeah, no problem.
Without any delay, without wasting any time, I will not be taking more than 30 minutes from you. I'll start with the questions that I have. So the first question, the most common question we have is, how lengthy should my resume be?
So I would say it really depends on your experience. And if you're a new grad, probably one page is enough. It shouldn't be longer than that because really you don't have too much experience, very likely, and you don't want to. So I call it fluff in the resume. You don't want to include a lot of fluff in your resume. So just be to the point, talk about your education, maybe some projects that are related to the job that you're applying for, and that's it, and focus on the skills.
Right. Yeah. That's the most frequently asked question. How long should it be? Because a lot of people confuse a curriculum vitae with a resume.
Yeah. So, and if you're not a new grad, if you have experience, I would say not longer than 2 pages. So once again, recruiters normally don't have a lot of time to kind of review long resumes and go through lists and lists of skills and experiences. We skim through the resume. Usually, if you read in the articles, they say that recruiter spends about 6 seconds reviewing the resume. I would say that's false statement, maybe about 15 to 30 seconds, but still it's a very short period of time that we take to review the resume. So make sure that it just includes the right information and it's not too long, so it doesn't kind of, detract my attention from it. So sometimes if I see long resumes, I'm like, okay, I just don't have time reading. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Considering we have 15 seconds. So the next question I have is, again, a very commonly asked question is, should I attach a photo? Should I write down my entire address?
Yeah, so it's not a common practice in Canada to include your picture in the resume.
Right.
If you really want to, no one prevents you from doing that, but and we see it a little bit more often. Usually when you include resume, it's the first time for me that you're either not located in Canada and you're following kind of, different practices that are kind of, common here. And in terms of the address, I really recommend not to include address because even if you live, let's say you apply for a job in Toronto, but you live in one of the suburbs, recruiter might think, oh, they live 45 minutes away. Probably the commute is going to be too long. I won't call this person. So right away, you kind of, reduce your chances of getting that call if you include address. I would say include your phone number for sure. And you may say, Greater Toronto area, you might say so like something general, but again, that is not mandatory, so you don't have to do it.
Right. So another question starting from the beginning of resume is, are resume objectives outdated? So this person sent me 3 questions in one question. It is, are resume objectives outdated? And what is the difference between a career objective and a career summary? Which one should I write? I am a fresh graduate. I have just started working.
Yeah, so Career objectives are dated. I actually have a post on it, I believe, on LinkedIn. So they are dated, but at the same time, you can kind of, turn it around and make it more kind of, current. So really what you want to focus on in your objective or in your summary is the value that you bring to the organization. So objectives, and they're kind of, old way, they mostly focused on the candidate. So they're candidate focused. Usually in the past, you would write, the objective is to find a job in, I don't know, IT, for example, where I can utilize my skills and experiences. So it's all about you. So if you want to include objective line, you can. Just don't focus it on yourself. Focus on the company. So what can you bring to the organization? Right. What value do you bring? And same with the summary. So if you include summary, again, focus on the company and on the values that you can provide. I forgot the third question on that side.
It was, so the person has just started working and he's confused if he should be writing an objective or a career summary.
Up to you, as long as it's employer focused.
All right. I usually suggest students who ask me this question to write according to their experience. If they have a lot of experience, then I think they should be writing a career summary. That makes sense.
Yeah.
If they're looking for a new job, then I think an objective would make more sense.
Well, again, I would say it's just a matter of preference and
right.
how you position yourself. So, right. Yeah, that's really up to.
Okay, great.
Up to the candidate.
Yeah. And what if the person does not have any experience? What to do then? What to mention in the experience?
Yeah. So I would say that they can mention projects that they worked on at school, but only if those projects are related to the work that they're applying for. So if I'm applying for, let's say, administrative assistant, but I learned IT and I did some QA projects at school, well, that's a good experience, but it's not an administrative experience. So you might want to kind of, rethink the projects that you worked on and kind of turn them around the skills that are required for the role. So really just reword what you've done, because when you did your QA projects, you probably did some administration. You created some documents,
right? And
you used Microsoft Office Suite. And so you see, you can really use that experience to showcase different skills.
Right. So as long as it's relevant to what job you have applied to, it's good to mention that project, right?
Yeah.
You're right. Right. So I can see a question in the comment section here is, when a candidate has changed a lot of jobs in a short period of time, what to do then? How to explain the gap, I guess, the constant changing of jobs. What to do then?
Or kind of, jumping from job to job. You don't have to do all of those jobs, really.
Right.
You can kind of, keep quiet and silent in certain jobs and just focus on those that that's relevant.
Right.
Focus on those short-term jobs and don't mention all of them. So really, you don't have to. No, people want normally check, like, your job history. We don't have a way of doing that.
Right, right. So if a person has too many years of experience, like 15 or 20 years of experience, how big should the resume reach?
Ideally, best practice is 10 years.
10 years.
If you're very experienced, let's say director, VP level, maybe 15 years. We want to see the progression, so really how you've grown throughout your career, but also you don't want to give up your age. So if you have many years of experience, that could play against you in some cases, right? So for example, you're applying for a little bit more junior role that you are qualified for. That age kind of, bias can be there. So recruiters are trying not to be biased, but we all are humans. So.
Right. Yeah. Right. Sure. Yeah. So, and one of the questions is also a very common question is which segment or which element of the resume to elaborate on and which one to keep very precise.
Experience is something that you should elaborate on, definitely. So not too much. Again, you have to be very specific to the point and provide just enough details. Because as a recruiter, I don't want to read, prompts and stories about the job. I just want to see what your achievements are, what you've done in your role, and kind of what impact it had on your organization. Yeah. So keep in mind maximum 2 pages length, and how would you fit your experience into a page and a half, because another half a page is going to be your objective or summary, your skills, and kind of all the additional fluff, as I call it. So in terms of the skills, be very specific. So this is something you can have a longer list, but don't elaborate on the skills. So if it's certain programming languages, just list those languages. Don't say like 5 years experience, 10 years experience, or what projects you used, on what projects you use those programming skills. Just the list, because again, we're skimming through the resume, and when they're kind of standalone in a list of bullet points, it's just easy to read, versus like lines and lines of text. And for the applicant tracking system that uses keywords to screen the resumes, it's also kind of easier. So this way you can fit more keywords into your resume.
Yeah. So talking about keywords, the next question is about keywords. How does keywords make a difference in my resume?
So if you're applying to the company that uses applicant tracking system, which is basically a database that collects all resumes and kind of then sorts them, so it usually has the capacity to search for keywords in your resume. So in that case, keywords could be very important, especially if there are a lot of applicants. Sometimes we get hundreds of applicants for one job, and a recruiter physically can't read all the resumes. So they use the keyword function, keyword search function, and then it's very important. If recruiters read resumes, well, obviously it's less important, but you should always keep in mind that they might use that keyword search function.
Right. I often suggest students to use keywords from the job description into your resume so that it matches well and the system is able to, shortlist your resume. Otherwise, there won't be any difference between you and the other candidate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You have to kind of analyze the job description first.
Yeah. Also, would you suggest having different resumes for different job profiles people apply to?
Again, depends how different the profiles are. So if you are mostly in, let's say, front-end development, right? I think one version of the resume is fine if you're applying for front-end developer and back-end developer as well. So yeah, probably you should have different resumes. But for kind of, one specific function, what I usually recommend as a strategy, as a resume strategy, is to really have a master resume where you list all of your achievements and all of your experiences for each job, and then when you apply, you just pick and choose what's most applicable to that specific job. So your master resume could be 10 pages long. So it's up to you, but it's just basically a library, a database of what you've done in each job, and then it's easier for you to kind of optimize your resume for each job description or for each application.
That's a wonderful suggestion. I'll do that today. I will do that today. Okay, so moving on to the next question I have here is, does the theme and the format of my resume be different for different job roles? And also I see one similar question in the comment which says, which resume is more impactful in terms of theme? The one with white background and black font, or something unique?
Right. So it depends what role you're applying for. If it's a creative role, you should be creative, but probably not too creative, because again, applicant tracking systems are limited in their capacity. So if you have too much graphics, you have too much colors, they might have difficulties kind of, reading your resume and identifying the keywords. So you might want to include some creative elements if the job you're applying for is creative, but at the same time, keep it professional, keep it nice and clean, and really attractive, not overly busy. So sometimes candidates use, in order to include as much information as possible in their resume, they use small font, no margins, and one line spacing or no spacing at all. So it's really hard for recruiters to read, and when we get to reading that resume, we just give up right away. So
right.
Don't do that. Don't make that mistake.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's nice to include a little bit of color in your resume. Again, just to attract the attention, to stand out. In the end of the day, it's not we won't make the decision based on how your resume looks, but it will give you more chances that the recruiter will actually start reading it because it looks nice.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. But not a lot of pop of color. That will definitely distract the recruiter, right?
Yeah, I would say maybe a little bit of color in headings, in your header of the resume. So
yeah,
be moderate, but at the same time, again, you can use some modern resume templates that you can find on online, and again, not too many tables, text boxes and things like that.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people use charts and graphs. That's interesting, but then again, I think it depends on the job position you're applying to. Right?
Yeah, that could be challenging for the ATS. Yeah.
Right. Yes. The next question is, how much information is enough information?
So my guidance usually is that each bullet point on your resume should be ideally maximum 2 lines long.
Right.
3 probably at the most, if you have more experience and you need to elaborate on what you've done, but 2 lines per bullet point would be the absolute maximum. Otherwise, again, it's hard to read because, we receive hundreds of resumes, and if we go through them manually, I probably won't read a bullet point that is like 5 or 10 lines.
And not everyone is an avid reader.
Yeah, and so just try to be really precise. Each bullet point or the resume, I would say, should be written on a level of probably 6th grader.
Okay, right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, simple words so everyone understands. And again, if it's a technical role, I'm not a technical person, but I'm still reviewing your resume. So keep in mind that very likely that someone who is not in the same field with you will be reading the resume, so they have to understand what you're writing.
Yeah, so not too many difficult words and abbreviations like that.
Exactly.
Right. So the next question I got is from a very dear friend who has asked that the company asks for a 3-month notice period before they resign. Should I mention that on my resume?
No. So, usually notice period, no one is expecting you to mention it in your resume. Yeah. 3 months is a really long time.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone, probably people might hire you in Canada if you have to provide 3 months notice, but you should be really, really good at what you're doing, so the company is ready to wait for you for 3 months.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, probably not the best practice to mention that in your resume.
Yeah, I have so many friends back in India who are working in very good IT firms based in UK and the US, and they have a hard time finding jobs because the only reason is that they have a very lengthy notice period, 3 months of notice period. So you have to actually resign and then start looking for a job.
Exactly.
So it is a task. It is definitely.
Yeah. It's not easy. So, but I mean, there are companies that will be willing to wait for you. So give it a try. Just don't mention it in your resume yet, because you might not get the phone call.
Right. Yeah.
You want to get that phone call.
Right, of course, yes, sure. So, all right, let's move on to the next one, and that is what to write for a career shift. How do I make a resume if I want to make a career shift?
So similar to new grads, right? You probably don't have that much experience in a new career that you want to pursue. So use your existing experience, just turn it around and utilize and focus on transferable skills.
Right. Yeah.
That you already have. So I can't come up with an example right now, but yeah, just think about responsibilities that you have and tasks that you've done in your current role, right, that in some way will be applicable for your new role. So, and just turn your resume around and highlight those skills.
Yeah, so it's like exactly like you would write when you are a fresh graduate. Perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. So, okay. Next one that I have is, which part of the resume makes the most impact on a recruiter?
Experience.
Yeah.
So it's not education. It's not the skills. It is experience. So very often we're looking for specific companies where you worked.
Right.
Because very often I would be looking for industry experience.
Right.
And this is really, the companies. So competitors, if you worked with a competitor, that would be great. So first thing that I would look at is your heading for each experience. Company you worked and the title you had, and then the length of, your tenure there. Then I would, if I see that that's something that I might be interested in, I will continue reading the experience section. So that's most impactful. So just put a lot of effort into writing that section, making sure that you highlight your achievements, making sure that you word each bullet point precisely and to the point, and that you showcase the value that you've provided to the organization.
Right. Yeah, sure. So moving on to the next one, which is, this I wanted to ask personally. What are your views on animated resumes and video resumes?
I think they're nice. I mean, it's a good touch, but you still have to have your paper resume. So yeah. This is what everyone's looking at. This is what applicant tracking system is requesting. This is what you are requested to submit when you're applying for a job, unless specified otherwise, right? So yeah, I mean, it's a good touch. If you have it, add a link to it in your written resume. Some of them are really creative, so if it's a creative role, yeah, try to be creative and create that kind of nice video resume. Right. But unfortunately, at this point, this is not a standard.
Yeah.
So you still have to have your paper resume.
Yeah, I actually recently applied for a job position where I was not asked for a traditional resume. I had to record myself. It was a 2 minutes video, and just talk about myself, whatever I had mentioned in my resume. It was unique and different. Yeah, I think it is. I would say is going to be the trend in the future, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So some companies do use this approach with the video, self-recorded video introduction, basically, to pre-screen you. So if it's the role where you have to present or speak with people a lot, communicate with others, that's a great thing. And they're using AI to pre-screen those. So it's I guess easier for the software to notice your facial expressions, your gestures, your body language, and all of that. So maybe in the end people will look at it, but first point of contact, so to say, would be a robot looking at your resume.
And I think more so why the video has become a trend, is becoming a trend, is because of this COVID restrictions that we have. We can't move physically. So I think it's like an added point in the screening process, if that's what it is. Yeah, right. So yeah, and with that, I come to end of the questions. But the last one that I have is, any tips on how can my resume stand out from the crowd, and what are some immediate turn-offs for recruiters?
Right. So immediate turn-offs, I would say spelling mistakes, poor formatting. And I will tell you why. Even if you have great experience in poor formatting, spelling, just tells me that you're not very kind of detailed person.
Right.
You're probably not very focused.
And you don't
your roles really require the skills. So, and maybe you're not very proficient with Microsoft Office suite. So, and that is something that we use a lot in most of our jobs, right? So, if you are not that proficient, ask someone to review it. So it's a really good practice to ask your friends to read the resume and provide their comments. So this is kind of, the first thing. And really, formatting your resume could look very simple yet organized, right? You don't have to use color, you don't have to use kind of fancy fonts or charts or graphs, but if it's well organized and it just looks solid, that's fine. But if it's kind of all over the place, different fonts, different bullet points, sometimes I know people copy and paste parts of their job descriptions into the resume, and they don't even change format. So so that's a poor decision. So that would definitely be a turnoff. Right. And to look, as I mentioned, to look attractive in your resume, for a resume to look attractive, make sure that it's well organized. Make sure that it is appealing to an eye, that I would want to read it as a recruiter. So ask your friends. Just take a look at the resume. How does it look? So that would be your first question. How does it look? Does it look appealing? Do you want to continue reading it? And then ask them to read it and provide you the comments as well.
Yeah, that's why I sent my resume to you to review it before I sent out to any employers. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you so much for doing this. And it was a wonderful, very informative session. I'm sure a lot of my viewers have gained a lot of it. It was very valuable. Thank you so much for giving me the time and taking out the time.
No problem. It's my pleasure. And as I mentioned, I really enjoy helping others with their job search and resume writing. So definitely happy to help and assist and share my knowledge. And definitely feel free to follow me or connect with me on LinkedIn or here on Instagram, because I do share quite a lot of tips here.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So all of you who would like a resume review or any career related tips, Anna has an Instagram account and you can connect it with her on LinkedIn. I will mention the link in the description somewhere in the video. I will be posting this video as an IGTV video. So any one of you who has missed the session, you will have the access to it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
And good luck to everyone who's looking for a job. And enjoy your Friday.
Yeah, it's been a nice day. It's been very warm from the past few days.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Relief.
Finally.
Yes. Yeah. I was talking to my family and telling them I'm tired of the winter. It's been 6 months.
Yeah. Well, something to get used to here in Canada.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much, Anna. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So, guys, I hope you got something insightful from this session. And suggest anything that you would want me to create, any video ideas, any interview ideas, any industry expert that you want me to interview like Anna. I would be happy to do so. Thank you so much and have a great day and good night if you're in India. Bye-bye.